Alright, everybody. Okay. If you hear a small buzzing in the background, that's just my window fan, and in fact, it's on a rolling. Oh, it's on intake right now, so it's blowing cold air in here, so yeah. Today, this is like my fourth time trying to record this video, so yeah. Hopefully this works. Top 20 unintentionally disturbing kids characters from around the world from Blame It On Jorge or Blame It On George. I'll be using those interchangeably, so don't get mad. So yeah, here we go for the fourth time. I'm sorry, this is for one simple video, this has been really hard for me to record. I don't know why. Also, I got my coffee.
Have you ever tuned into your favorite show as a child and was creeped out by one specific character? And one that wasn't even supposed to be creepy? Sometimes even being the host of the show or its main characters. Well, you're not alone. Apparently tons of children's shows around the world has had these unintentionally creepy, nightmarish characters.
That's far from Tomorrow's Pioneers. I don't recommend looking up this show as it's pretty controversial. But I won't get too much into it as I don't want to get this show on my ass. So yeah, just putting it out there. If you don't want to be scarred, don't look up this show.
So today, we're going to count down 20 unintentionally disturbing kids characters from around the world.
The Boobahs from Boobah. This show was a British TV program that was produced by Ragdoll Productions.
Essentially a drug trip or an acid trip for young kids, as it was made from the same people who made Teletubbies, which, that was marketed towards kids. So I guess Ragdoll Productions just loves making kids shows. I mean, yeah, I get it, they're a kids company, but do they have to make such a drug trip of a show?
The Boobahs are 5 gumdrop-shaped creatures with big eyes and lights for eyebrows. Their heads are shriveled into their necks, and they awkwardly move around and fly with each other. The Boobahs do not speak. Instead, they communicate by making noises like squeaks and cracks. Like other shows on this list, many children, and even some adults, found the Boobahs to be absolutely terrifying. There's just something so unsettling about the way they walk and move. And if that weren't enough, their website could use some help too.
What the fuck? What, fix that,
Distorted
please.
music along with weird flash games that won't really entertain anyone who's above the age of 3 seem to make this thing a little more terrifying than anything related to this show should be. The Puppets from The Wiggles.
Don't know if you're a Five Nights at Freddy's fan, George, but or Jorge, or just please, if you see this video, please correct me in the comments, as I do not want to keep doing this. But anyways, I don't know if you're a FNAF fan, but Phobia the Awakening is a good game. You should definitely check this game out, as it features the puppets in animatronic form, and I won't spoil it. Check it out for yourself. It's really good. I suggest Daco, Taste Gaming, or Game Salmon, if the Game Salmon played it. I don't know if the Game Salmon played it. If he hasn't, then he should, because it's really good. Look at me spouting off random shit that I know the original people are not going to see.
The Wiggles was a musical group that performed on children's television from 1991 till now. While several of the cast members of the original group has either left due to physical health or old age, the original series had some pretty weird ideas about some of the side skits. For example, there was The Puppets, which was based on a popular Alvin and the Chipmunks group and TV show at the time. These horrifying things had their own unique look and style, even if their voices were pitched up in the same manner as the titular rodents. They move in rather stilted, disjointed way.
Creepy image, creepy image. Whoa. Where did this originate from? I want to know.
And have pretty terrible puppetry to go along with it. They always have these big, plastered smiles on their faces, and large beady eyes that seem to stare right past you. Really, this would feel more home on a Chucky's film rather than a children's TV show. Nonetheless, the Wiggles puppets gave kids nightmares throughout all of the 90s.
Whoa, creepy. Okay.
Fafo, from the island of Dr. Moreau. Fafo is an alien-born character from a fictional planet called Fafolandia. He came to Earth to form his own band called Balloon Magic with a quartet of children.
Okay.
Since his inception, he's grown to become quite popular amongst Brazilian children, getting to have its own program, dolls, and other licensed products. However, he's still incredibly creepy, and his features are incredibly bizarre. Most notably his strange cheeks that outgrow and sag over his skin, and his eyes that gave off an almost sinister-looking stare. His nightmarish appearance is completely unintentional, but nightmarish nonetheless.
Honestly, those are the eyes of someone who just committed a crime. I'm telling you. How many children has he killed? Just look at those eyes. And by the way, I just want to tell you that this is a commentary video and it is used for education and criticism under fair use. And also, I mean, no disrespect to the people who make these shows, just these characters are pretty unnerving, and all jokes are just that, jokes. They don't mean a thing. I'm not spouting off theories and all that. It's just harmless humor, okay? Glad we got that out of the way.
Sasuga Minami from Miburi TV. Miburi TV was a morning Japanese TV show involving children dancing, often with the host Sasuga Minami. She's seen in a one-piece jumpsuit that has patches on it saying some pretty vulgar things all in English. And while these two might be confusing to a Japanese audience, the third is well known because of its close translation to the word faku. There really is no reason behind her outfits, and she's even worn it in a number of episodes with little to no backlash. In one confusing episode, the children are seen wearing Nirvana shirts for, again, no real reason. She dances and helps choreograph the children with these inappropriate messages displayed on her shirts.
What? How did that even get past censors?
The Flute, from HR Puff and Stuff.
Ah, Sid and Marty Krofft. Love the Krofft brothers. In fact, I would, if the Krofft brothers are still making stuff out there, I would love to be in like one of their series. Maybe not HR Puff and Stuff, but maybe like, I don't know. Didn't Sid and Marty Krofft have a show on Nickelodeon known as Mutt and Stuff or something? I can't remember. correct me in the comments, but any other creepy, like, a puppet show like that, I would love to be in it. Not saying that I will get to be in it because, I'm a small YouTuber and yeah. But I can dream, okay?
This bizarre children's show only ran for 2 years, with a total of just 17 episodes. The plot involved an 11-year-old boy named Jimmy, who becomes shipwrecked and lands on a deserted island. Him and his friend, a talking flute named Freddy, take a ride on a mysterious boat that leads them to the living island. The boat was actually being controlled by a wicked witch, who used it to lure Jimmy and Freddy to her castle. The entire show is full of strange human-sized puppets, and Freddy the Flute is the creepiest looking companion ever. He gives off an unsettling face whenever he talks or just appears on camera. But what's just as terrifying as Freddy the Flute is Witchy Poo, the primary antagonist of the series who's after Freddy the Flute. She rides a large rocket-powered broom and is mean to everyone around her, even her henchmen.
Okay. Of course I get an ad in the middle of it. There we go.
The Groke from the Moomins. The Groke is a fictional character from the Swedish show The Moomins. She's a tall, ghost-like creature and is known as the biggest threat in Moomin Valley. Cold, creepy, and with a killer stare, everything this character touches freezes. If she stays in one spot for more than 1 hour, the ground dies and nothing can ever grow there again. In the English dub, she's completely mute, but in the Finland, Poland, France, and Japan dub, her voice is absolutely terrifying.
Okay, yeah, I'm glad she's a mute in the English dub. Because that's fucking creepy.
The Groke is considered to be...
What are they actually saying there? I actually want to know. I mean, I'm learning Japanese, but I'm not fluent in it, okay? So, if someone could, please translate that for me. Translate it down in the comments, or maybe it'll be translated in my closed captions or something. I don't even think I get closed captions on my videos.
To be one of the most intimidating characters in a children's program. However, she is also considered by others to be one of the most sympathetic and misunderstood villains. Even though she starts out portrayed as an evil and terrifying antagonist, later adaptations depict her as a lonely person who longs for warmth, light, and companionship, but is unable to because of her nature to kill things. She has no control over her appearance and her ability to freeze anything she touches.
Mr. Blobby from Noel's House Party. Noel's House Party was a Saturday night TV show on the BBC, once hailed as the most important show on the BBC by a senior corporation executive. In 2010, Noel's House Party was voted the best Saturday night TV show of all time, according to the Mirror.
Does the Mirror even still produce articles, or are they defunct now? I'm sure I'll figure it out sooner or later.
Despite the positive reception, one of the show's characters was negatively received, and that was Mr. Blobby. Mr. Blobby is an 8-foot, round-shaped pink figure covered in yellow spots. He communicates by saying the word Blobby, in a electronically altered voice and expresses mood through the tone of his voice. Mr. Blobby would partake in pranks involving celebrities, where he would act clumsy, childish to irritate them. Mr. Blobby was criticized for his behavior, at one point causing one little girl to cry after throwing her birthday cake onto the floor, which then caused the father to approach the stage and attack Blobby.
Mum Shots from The Muppet Show. On episode 124, the Mum Shots made a guest appearance on The Muppet Show. They're an experimental group of dancers formed in Switzerland, made up of performers whose techniques include acting, puppeteering, and other forms of artistry. They mainly perform in black leotards or other minimal attire, with creative masks while remaining completely silent. They also made an appearance on Sesame Street, where they performed several times. One involving 2 cardboard boxes to demonstrate the idea of being sane and different, and another involving freely stretching out each other's masks. These concepts must have been entertaining and even fascinating to adults, but for children, it must have confused and horrified them. These ominous pale white masks with cold, permanent expressions are menacing. Coupled with the fact that they are surrounded by beloved Muppets, makes them even more disturbing.
Kind of reminds me of that, what was that creepypasta where this guy's work where he puts clay all over his face and then he just, like cuts a hole in the clay and all that and just makes that weird grunting noise as it happens, like it goes like or something like that. This is what that reminds me of. I don't know if that's what it reminds you of, but that's what it definitely reminds me of. I'll stop pausing after like every single one.
For us, James Hardy has always proved that quality really comes first with their company.
No one cares.
The Phone from Telechat. Telechat is a French television show designed to be a parody of news programs, but for kids. It stars puppets of anthropomorphic animals, who all act and look in very strange ways. Their movements are so sporadic that it gives off just an uncomfortable vibe, and they all look just as weird too. The cat in the suit frequently has a broken arm, and the ostrich wears lipstick and shows cleavage.
Damn!
But strangest of all is the phone with a face. He whispers in the anchorman's ear when he picks him up, and almost sounds like he's gasping for air, before completely changing his tone. The show itself doesn't look that bad, and it does have some more frightening moments, like this microphone with an ear attached to it. It has a permanent looking smile stuck on it, and an extremely bothersome voice.
Okay, you know it's bound to have that ear bleed because of how horrible its voice is.
From Morso.
Oh god.
There is honestly not that much information about Morso online.
Wow.
All we do know
All you have is
that
images.
he's a character from a Finnish children's show. Some of the only available footage online is what I assume to be a scene from the show, featuring a bear character
Why is there a
someone,
live leak link?
and this horrifying,
Or live
nightmare-inducing,
leak
distorted
Or,
clip of Morso
thumbnail
himself.
or whatever it is.
The frightening music.
I forgot what you call it. Watermark. Yeah, there was a live leak watermark.
Music only helps solidify Morso as a being of children's fears. And without it, he's still scary looking. Again, there's not much I could find about his character, or even what the show was about, which ironically only adds to the creepiness.
I wonder if there's an update about this. If Morso has more known about it now.
Carbuncle from Ik Mik Lorland. This Netherlands show was an educational program that ran for 2 seasons in 1994. The series was intended to teach children how to read with a method called learning to read safely. It featured a character named Carbuncle, who induced fear into every Dutch child who watched the show. In fact, the show was criticized heavily because of Carbuncle, who many parents thought was too scary for their children. Some even endured nightmares, according to a loosely translated article. After the first 20 episodes, Carbuncle was made more kid-friendly by transforming him almost entirely human. This was to inspire viewers to continue watching the series and expand on their education. And, despite the criticism, Ik McForland was a huge success. Though many Dutch children still recall the terror that was Carbuncle.
Almost in the video.
Ananas. From Telefrancis. Telefrancis was a French children's show that ran from 1984 to 1986. The show became a popular teaching tool in Canadian and American schools to teach their students French as a second language. However, the show featured a character named Ananas, a frightening, sporadic talking pineapple who often gets into adventures with our two main characters. She pretty much never blinks and is usually just looking around in a dazed stare when she's not speaking. She's almost nothing like her animated counterpart, who always appears in the show's opening title sequence.
Now that
There's
looks
one
more
episode
friendly.
where she
That
sings
doesn't.
and dances in the forest with the two other children, again looking extremely uncomfortable and creepy.
That animated pineapple, I want to be friends with. The puppet one, jeez, keep it away from me. What the fuck?
Hartley Hare from
Oh
Pipkins.
god.
There was a 70s kids show in Britain called Pipkins.
Hartley Hare looks like it's just roadkill that they put on screen. They just like scraped him up from the road, turned its battered corpse into a puppet, and just turned it into a TV show.
That ran from January 1973 to December 1981. The show starred a gang of animals such as a pig, a monkey named Topop, an ostrich named Octavia, and a hare named Hartley Hare.
Okay, I noticed something. When they said pig, they showed the monkey. When they said the monkey named Topop, they showed the pig. But the other two they got spot on there. Maybe it was just an editing error. Who knows? I won't judge them too heavily for it, as they're getting the story out technically.
Hare. He was the most daunting thing about the show. And while Hartley Hare wasn't intended to be creepy, he ended up being downright unnerving for some children. The show itself was devoid of any real humor or color, and instead focused on a depressing color scheme. In this video, Hartley talks to children about being naughty.
And today I'm going to talk to you about being naughty.
He then brings out a glove puppet and explains that you can do all sorts of things with a glove puppet.
You know, you can be naughty with a glove puppet, can't you? Michael!
I don't even want to imagine what he means when he says that.
Oh, dearie me, Michael. We have been in lots of trouble, haven't we?
No, stranger danger, what the fuck, stranger danger, that sounds so fucking weird, oh god.
Yes, still.
Pipkins was canceled when its producers, ATV, lost its franchise for the Midlands ITV region. Interestingly, due to videotape damage and poor storage, many of the show's episodes are completely lost. Out of 333 episodes, only 135 survived the test of time.
That's pretty fucking impressive.
The Giant Walrus from Pingu. In the episode titled Pingu's Dream, Pingu falls asleep and finds himself in a dream where his igloo home flies away, and then his bed grows legs and moves around. As bizarre as most dreams go, this one seems fine, until a giant walrus begins to stalk Pingu.
I mean, that's not the most bizarre dream that I've heard of. In fact, I've had a few bizarre dreams myself. The one I'll mention right now is, well, I once had a dream where, well, it was actually like 2 nights ago, I believe, where I dreamed that I dreamed that there was like this basement thing where there was this like weird claymation looking like creature, but it also looked like it could be an animatronic at some point. And little did I know, because this is like a few days, like this was like I had watched Dako's full playthrough, like right after the dream, I had watched Dako's full playthrough of Security Breach Ruin. And lo and behold, the claymation looking like creature that could be an animatronic looked like the main antagonist of Ruin. I don't know if that was a vision, premonition, or if it was just some weird coincidence, but I'll leave you with that. That you can conspire about in the comments of what was my brain trying to tell me in that dream where my thing looked like the Mimic. Which, I'm going to tell you now, I did not see any of the screenshots or any of the trailers for Ruin. Nothing. I saw nothing of it. I wouldn't have known what it looked like until I saw that playthrough. So yeah, let's continue.
The walrus slowly murmurs inaudible noises before confronting Pingu. He traps Pingu in an igloo.
Why does it look like they used bristles from a broom to make the walrus's like little mustache looking thing?
And then laughs some more in an uncomfortably deep tone, and must have scared the children watching at home. What's most odd is that he only appeared in this one episode. It was banned from distribution due to the walrus being frightening for many young viewers. It was also removed from British television in 2003 and was one of the few programs pulled from airing in the United States.
I can't skip this ad. I'm sorry.
P. Salty, from P. Salty's Songs for Little Praisers. P. Salty is described by their website as a songbook, but not just any songbook. A songbook full of songs for children. P. Salty, in reality, is a grown man in a book costume. His face is painted blue, and it appears that he has some sort of clay prosthetic to make his cheeks more pronounced. He is often with and watching a group of kids with his trusty dog, Blooper. Blooper is another 30-something man who wears a downright creepy dog costume and is forced to act like a dog. Oftentimes, kids are petting him and treating him like an animal, which includes allowing them to lay in their laps and allowing them to pet his thighs and getting uncomfortably close to his groinal area. It really does scream stranger danger.
Yep.
But really, that is for you to decide.
I mean, yeah, I know, this isn't my first time watching this video. So I knew he was going to say stranger danger there, so don't say like, oh, first time reaction, how did he know? As I knew what he was going to say. Okay, I've seen this video before. But I wanted to make a reaction for you guys, so you can have my thoughts about what these things are.
The puppets from Peppermint Park. According to TV tropes, this 80s TV show can be described as straight to DVD and straight from hell. And rightfully so. The main cast of characters is a scary group of puppets that teaches children lessons like letters, numbers, colors, and so on. Take Ernie, for example, who likes to sing about the letter M.
It's me, Ernie. Today on Peppermint Park, we're introducing the letter M.
You don't look like the Ernie I know.
It's such a great letter.
God.
It's marvelous, magnificent. I can't imagine life without the letter M.
The song is poorly written and sung by a voice that can make ears bleed. There's also Maynard, an old, saggy-looking puppet who sings about the color blue in this clip.
I'm so blue. I said I'm so blue. I used to be yellow. Now I'm laid back and mellow.
Not only is the show incredibly obscure, but it was a ripoff of Sesame Street. It had an opening title sequence with children and puppets that gave lessons, and even a character that bears a striking resemblance to the Cookie Monster. What really makes the show unnerving is the way they move and the designs themselves. It honestly looks as though there are actors that just had their heads removed and then replaced with a creepy doll.
They should write an essay about what not to do at a stoplight.
Whizbit from Whizbit. This 80s show was about an alien magician known as Whizbit, who solves puzzles and finds out as much as he can about the planet Earth. The show was mostly educational, with the solutions to the puzzles being revealed towards the end of each episode. That's all fine and whatnot, but Whizbit's design is terrifying. It has a painfully high-pitched and disturbing childlike voice that's annoying, but evil-sounding all at the same time.
Hey, Whizbit, have you seen what happened?
I certainly have, Wooly.
Did you just come from Puzzleopolis?
Yes, I did.
Circle Square. Is it the
Black, white, and gray.
G? And the puzzle game, is it the
Black, white, and gray.
and squidgy? Not squidgy.
I'm afraid so. He's a black, white, and gray bug now.
He's also accompanied by this tall, creepy bunny, whose voice sounds muttered and delirious, unintentionally coming off as a threat. Whizbit lives in a house that's completely void of color, with chilling music being played in the background. However, towards the end of one episode, the color palette does lighten up, but the bunny just dances for an uncomfortable amount of time while Whizbit just stands there, pondering.
They can do some dancing lessons.
Mint Mobile Unlimited Premium Wireless. How did you get 30/30?
With the price of just about everything going up during inflation.
Ratafak Plachta from Slendeko. Definitely one of the more obscure characters on this list. This horrifying puppet is from a Czechoslovakian TV show. It's pretty hard to describe him, but according to a user on Reddit, his name translates to Nosy Blankets. Anyways, in this clip, he's frolicking around and singing an insanely creepy song. In the show, he seems to enjoy walking around and having fun with children. That's all I could take out of him. He just looks so damn creepy and moves in such a bizarre way.
Alright, we're at number 2.
Nobody from Sesame Street.
Ooh, I actually made a me character of this guy on my Wii system. He is really creepy at times, but hey. At least I can make the joke that nobody hits the 5 pin. That's a Wii bowling joke.
Count to 10 with Nobody was an odd and old sketch from the early years of Sesame Street. It featured a disembodied floating set of eyes and mouth called Nobody, as he counted down from 10, with weird animations and music in the background. The scariest thing about Nobody is his eerie-sounding voice. It was so unusually calm and ominous. He almost sounded like a psychopath waiting to murder someone. Nobody originated from an early Jim Henson short film about the human subconscious. Nobody would, just like in the Sesame Street, float around and speak in his isolated whispering voice and have flashbacks about his family. Sometimes he would stutter, and other times he would smack his lips or moan and talk about his evil thoughts.
Lovely. That's a nice thought. Isn't that beautiful? Of course, I've got some evil thoughts, too. I guess everybody does. Hey, you want to see my evil thoughts? I keep them over here, in this part of my brain.
As soon as he would mention these evil thoughts, disturbing images would flash on screen for a brief few frames.
Mr. Nosybunk from Jigsaw. This character is from an 80s British TV show and was originally supposed to serve as the program's comic relief character. As the show went on, he became more the subject of fear. Episodes would often show Mr. Nosybunk acting out clues to the word of the week. After all, this was an educational children's show, and for a children's show, he was downright horrifying. His mask had these big, lifeless eyes that just kind of stared off into the distance. This wide and unchanging grin that displays a haunting smile, and an unusually large nose. In the show, he's always silent, and often had his nightmarish repetitive tune accompany him. Not much was really known about his character, and information was scarce until recently, when he was brought up online. Charlie Brooker, host of the BBC television series Screenlight, describes him as a leering death mask figure who haunted his dreams and struck him as the kind who would sneak into a stranger's bedroom in the dead of night and knife you and knife you and knife you.
Well, that was the top 20 unintentionally disturbing kids characters from around the world, and well, honestly, I'm kind of desensitized to this at this point because I've literally been to the weird side of YouTube so many times. I've kind of gotten desensitized to disturbing kids characters, so yeah. So I can just really make jokes about them at any point. And yeah. So if you really want to scare me, just put on Treats for Beast or Meat Sleep. That'll really get me shaking, and like the hairs on my arm literally standing, as their audio is just so jarring to me that it'll literally send shivers down my spine. Well, anyways, that's enough from me. I'll see you all next time. And shout out to Blame It On Jorge or Blame It On George for just, making such an awesome video. See you next time. Peace.